This salah has been mentioned in the Holy Quran and emphasized upon. It is, however, the most neglected prayer by Muslims throughout history, and it's a salah that many people struggle with, yet its performance and perfection are key prerequisites for the success of believers. Salatul Fajr, otherwise known as Salatul Subh, is one of the obligatory prayers that have been prescribed upon Muslims, and indeed it's one of the 5 salahs performed throughout the day. It's a salah of great importance, yet at the same time one that many people will struggle with. In the idea that when you have conversations with many people, they'll tell you of the difficulty of waking up early in the morning. They'll tell you of the hardship of rising from sleep and performing the salah. When you discuss Salatul Fajr amongst a group of family or friends, you'll come across different categories of people. There are those who will tell you, honestly and truthfully, that they haven't prayed Fajr for years. There are those who will tell you that they continuously miss it, and sometimes they pray it, and sometimes they don't. There are those who will not be in any shape or form remorseful or guilty and think indifferently when missing Fajr. In other words, when they talk about Salatul Subh, they say, I missed it. It's not a problem. I'll just make it up. There are those that we have come across, and we might be amongst them. They will describe how they wake up in the morning and have no idea whether they perform Fajr or not. In which way? I remember in Ziyarah, one of the mu'mineen who was with me in my room, in the morning when he woke up, he looked at me and said, did I wake up for Fajr or not? I said, why? He said, I can't remember. In the idea that some of us rise for Fajr half asleep, we go perform wudu very quickly, we perform the salah, and then what? We can hear or feel the pull of the bed. We quickly rush back to our bed, because in the idea that we feel tired, lethargic, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has addressed this issue. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, la taqrabu as-salata wa antum sukara. O you who believe, don't rise for prayers and you are drowsy or in a form of intoxication. Hatta ta'lamu ma taqulun, unless you know what is it that you're saying. Yes, in the recognition that many a times we perform the salah and we cannot necessarily remember which chapter we recited, we cannot remember what time we woke up. It has become habitual. The discussion surrounding Fajr Salah is undoubtedly an important discussion, because it affects the lives of each and every one of us today. And maybe it's a discussion that you haven't come across, whereby an entire majalis is dedicated to one particular salah. But because of its importance, especially with our youth, I want to examine it. Why? Because today you and I are facing a number of challenges. In many communities around the world, irrespective of where people live, there is what is known as the secularization of religion. What does that refer to? This refers to the idea of approaching deen and the practice of Islam with the notion of convenience and conformity. Please understand this. Many times today people have approached practices, wajibat, the whole teachings of the religion with the mindset that, does it fit my understanding? Is it something that I am comfortable with? It is something that I can do and at the same time fit in with society or not? And you recognize that the cost of this type of thinking is that some practices are unfortunately neglected or indeed not performed in the right way. There are those who have redefined the boundaries between halal and haram. There are those who have said that in today's world, I don't think that it is as haram to do this because back in the time it was this. So there is a redefinition due to the pressure, for example, that some of our youth and others are indeed going through. And at the same time, there are those who say, it is the spirit that we have to think about, not the form. What do I mean? Allah wants the spirit of this. Yes? When it comes to certain practice like hijab, there are some of our sisters who come forward and say, no, Allah knows what's in my heart. My heart is pure. My heart is good. I'm a good human being. Whether I wear hijab or not is not really the most important thing. It is what is in my heart. So, with the idea that when it comes to religion, sometimes it's broken down to these kind of ideas that are pushed through by certain individuals, trying to minimize our relationship with our religion and change it as time passes by. The Quran swears by a number of things, yes? When it comes to the sun, Allah says, وَالشَّمْسِ. When it comes to the nahar, the daytime, وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى. Yes? When it comes to the night, when it comes to the time, وَالْعَصْرِ. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala swears by a number of factors to highlight its importance. One of them is dawn. One of them is morning. Quran, for example, comes forward and says, in chapter 81, verse 18, وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسِ. And the morning when it breathes. Yes? But furthermore, we have an entire chapter that is named after this particular time of the day. That is Surah Al-Fajr. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, Wal-Fajr. He swears by the breaking of dawn. Fajr is what? Fajr is the explosion of something. Yes? This is the explosion of light after darkness. Fajr is when this actually happens. Yet when it comes to the Quran, actually there is a verse that highlights that Fajr occupies a central position in the religion of Islam. And it is indeed a neglected salah by Muslims, but a highly emphasized one by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. One that stands alone as being referenced in the Quran. You tell me where? I tell you chapter 17 verse 78. Please understand this ayah. Because many of us may need inspiration tonight. Many of us may need to change our practices tonight. Many of us may need a push tonight in order to ensure that Fajr is not missed. Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل. Perform the salah from noon till the night. وقرآن الفجر. And the recitation of Quran at Fajr, at dawn. إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. Verily, surely, definitely, this recitation at the time of Fajr is witnessed. Ulama Mufassirin come forward and say, no doubt this verse highlights the times of Salah vaguely, briefly. Talks about noon, Asr, Dhuhr and Asr Salah. Talks about Maghrib and Isha at night. But then the Quran says what? وَقُرْآنَ الْفَجْرِ. That which is recited at Fajr. Yes? What does it say? It says because this Salah is being witnessed. By whom? The narrations tell us that we have two sets of malaika during the day. We have the angels of night and we have the angels of the day. Yet when it comes to Fajr, they both witness the prayer. But Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala saying there is special emphasis upon Fajr because Allah created us. He knows that it is perhaps the most difficult of prayers, perhaps the most challenging of prayers. So those who rise, those who push the temptations to continue to sleep, those who don't just press the snooze button all the time, will be witnessed in the most brilliant of ways by what? By the malaika. Question, what? And you read all this research that has presented on how successful individuals are those who are early risers. Wake up early in the morning, you recognize. Discussions have presented evidences there that it increases your productivity during the day, number one. It gives you more energy during the day, number two. Number three, it makes you eat healthier. They did this study, very interestingly. They saw people who rise in the morning earlier than others and have sufficient sleep at an average 218 calories less in a day. I don't know why I memorized that. Yes? They ate less in the day. Why? Because what? They were more conscious. They were more alert. Similarly what? They were more organized. Those who were waking up earlier in the day, more productive, without shadow of a doubt. That's why you see today celebrities, sportsmen and women, others, politicians, they are part of what is known as the 5 a.m. club, some of them. Even 4 a.m. club. What is this? They say that we wake up at that time. We sleep early and we wake up early because they recognize the enrichment of this particular act. But sometimes people say, I know very well, and I've been told many times, of the benefits of Fajr and waking up early, but I struggle, they say. Yes. It is one of the most difficult things because as much as I try, I can't wake up. Sometimes I have work in the morning, I have school, I have other commitments. Things happen during the night that's out of my control. Tell me of ways in which I can wake up for Fajr. Practical tips on how can I wake up on time and perform my Fajr and not miss my Salah. Because I want this Muharram to be different. I want to start a new clean page this Muharram and ensure that this essential prayer is not neglected. But these tips are not only practical, physical tips. Please understand. In order for us to be able to wake up for Salatul Subh, there is a prerequisite which is related to our psychological way of thinking and our mindsets when it comes to Salah. Please appreciate and understand this. I want your attention to this because it's not only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll give you 6 tips, don't worry. It will come. But before it, what is more important is we have to change our mindset when it comes to Salah. How many of us know why we are performing Salah? Especially our children. What is the ethos? What is the reason? What is the philosophy? When it comes to my prayers, if I approach it with a mindset that it is something that I have to do due to a checklist, something that I am not connected with, because Salah is about connection. It comes from Sila in Arabic. Sila means to connect something. The whole objective of Salah is to connect you to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Yes? Quran, that individual who has the strength to rise from their bed, to say no to shaitan, to do the wudu properly, to stand in salah, to do their sajda, yes, to recite the Quran. What strength are they gaining early in the morning? How powerful is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanting to make you and I? How amazing is this invitation to make you and I enriched with special energy in the morning. That struggle that we have is purposeful. That morning pain is good. When I can't rise from the bed and then I have the determination, the willpower, the self-control, the willingness to say no to desires, that will help me during the day. Mark my words. Yes? That will give me an extra boost to be able to say no to desires, to be able to say no to temptations. It is empowering 100%. Think of it that way. My invitation to the youngsters, my invitation to the youth, my invitation to anyone who is missing Fajr all the time. Don't only think of Fajr, I have to wake up. Ya Allah, what is this? Think of it as I have to wake up because I'm looking forward, because it will help me, because I need it, because Allah has given it to me, because it will make me a better human being in this world before Akhirah. Keep in mind, and let's ensure that we try our best to adhere to them. Number 1, our attitude and our dua. When I come to sleep, I need to think that I will wake up for Fajr in my mind. This mental state is important. Yes? So don't go to sleep thinking, it's impossible that I wake up. Already you're in a defeatist attitude. No, approach it with the mindset that no, I will wake up and ask Allah. Ask Allah, Ya Allah, help me. I want you to wake me up. Number 2, go to sleep in wudu. Because narrations of the Ahl al-Bayt tell us, anyone who sleeps in the state of wudu and dies in the state of wudu, they die a shaheed, a martyr. Anyone who goes to sleep whilst in wudu, Allah changes their bed to a masjid in which He is worshipped. These are Ahl al-Bayt telling us. It doesn't cost you much. Just the wudu before you go to sleep. Similarly, the beautiful, excellent tasbihah of Sayyidat al-Nisa Fatima al-Zahra salawatullahi wa salamu alayha is highly recommended. Number 3, recite the final ayah of Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, 110. قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. If you haven't memorized it, no problem, recite it from the Quran or from your phone. And indeed we are told when you recite this ayah, Allah will appoint angels that will wake you up at the time of your choosing. This is also highly recommended. Number 4, if you miss Fajr Salah, don't be indifferent. If you have an important appointment or a meeting with someone really valuable and you miss it and you forget it, you will be for days thinking, oh, what has happened? Why did I miss it? You'll feel sorry, sorrowful, grief. If you miss Fajr, don't wake up in the morning and say, I miss Fajr, never mind, inshallah next time. Feel a sense of sadness, feel a sense of grief, because that will impact your mindset. That will change the way you approach Fajr tomorrow. And therefore, what? Be in that particular state. Number 5, make sure that as soon as you wake up, if you have missed Fajr, perform the qada straight away. MashaAllah. May Allah bless some of our sisters and brothers. I ask them, they say, I have 7 years of qada of Fajr. 10 years of Fajr qada. Yes? Why are you accumulating? Do it quickly. Some say, give me a tip. If you do, after each wajib salah during the day, 5 times, a Fajr qada, yes, you'll finish an entire year worth of qada in 72 days. Yes, 72 days, so approximately 5 years of qada you can do in 1 year. If you do it after each salah, 2 rak'atayn of your qada, yes. And number 6, there are some of us who continuously, habitually stay up late at night, watching movies, Netflix, hanging around, this and that. No problem if you do it from here from time to time, something, nobody's saying it's haram. But don't make it a habit where because you sleep late, you miss your Fajr. No doubt, be responsible enough to know your limitations and how you must make sure that you wake up. Because why? Narrations tell us there is a shaitan responsible to make sure we don't wake up for Fajr. Please mark these words. That shaitan, his name is Raha. He celebrates when you miss Fajr and you wake up, it's time to pray, and you say a few more minutes and you go back to sleep. You know who's told you to go back to sleep? There's still more time? This Raha. Remember him next time he speaks to you in the morning. Yes? He tells you go back to sleep. You go back to sleep. Alarm, bell, something. Yes, of course, we have to utilize these methods as well. Your phone, alarm bells, anything to wake you up. But then if you miss the Fajr completely and you wake up, and the sun has risen, there is a great celebration going on around you. You don't see it. This Raha is joyful, delighted. Like there are some people in the Western world, they have these markers or expectations. They have to give enough number of penalties if they are parking attendants or whatever daily. So he has a daily number of people he has to deceive. So now he is happy that he is deceived and he has ensured that the number of people have missed their Fajr. Don't give him a chance to celebrate.